You're so nervous you're about to stand the whole time. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome everyone here in the audience. Welcome everyone watching us on YouTube right now. It is my extreme pleasure to introduce the one and only, the great Vitalem Lacerdą. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being here. Is this your first time in Poland?
It's my first time in Poland. I just arrived yesterday.
So how do you enjoy it? Because I hear you don't like cold very much.
Well, it's cold. I'm not used so much to the cold because in Portugal we don't have this cold. But I see snow and I love snow. We never have snow in Portugal. We only have one mountain there, so you should go there.
Well, as you can see, we have a lot more, so you know you can always move here in the winter time to enjoy snow if you want to.
Yes, I'm here now, right?
Okay, so it may sound like a very simple question, but this is something that I'm always. Okay, so it may sound like a very simple question. Is the music bothering anyone? I think it's a yes.
It's nice music.
The music is nice. So we'll just wait for the music to go down just a little. Good. But we're still online, right? We didn't lose that by accident. Just perfect. Okay. So, like I said, it may sound like a banal question, but I am always, and I think people are always interested. How did you get into board gaming? Was it like something that you discovered as a possible career path, or was it something that began with you as a fan of board games?
No, I'm still a fan of board games. I just play a lot of board games. First of all, I'm a gamer. I think I'm a gamer since, I don't know, 1990 probably. I made my own rules for Monopoly because you all know that I don't like dice. Well, dice don't like me, so I don't use dice in my games. And Monopoly has dice, so I decided to have a Monopoly without them. And that's my first probably design, but I play board games since the beginning.
What did you change about Monopoly? Is it like a worker placement now?
Well, no, you just have action points. So. It's very simple.
I would buy it.
But anyway, I started playing games like everybody played with Catan and the first Euro games that just show up. And after that, I keep playing and I discover heavy games. And well, I still keep playing heavy games. That's what I like to play. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still on the Monopoly by Vitalem Lacerdą. If we see it next year at PortalConu, Monopoly from Eagle Games and Vitalem Lacerdą.
If you think about Speakeasy, just like Monopoly, we win with money, right? The player with the most money. You have the hotels, you have the houses. It's almost the same.
I mean, and it's not there, but technically those guys probably go to prison at some time.
Almost, right? Yeah.
So I also noticed when I was reading up about you, it was I saw that you had you have your degree in marketing and advertising, and then you moved to be more of a freelance graphic designer, and then you became a freelance board game designer. And what I think from just reading that, and please correct me if it's wrong, but it seems like, because you know some people have a job that they like, don't like, and then they move to a hobby, board gaming. But I think when I see how much involved you are in the marketing and the advertising process, I think it was all like one big love. None of it was like a dread to get to. Like it was all passion, right?
Well, it was a coincidence. My work was in advertising. I work in advertising about 15 years, and the skills I got from it, I'm still using to design board games. I just stopped working on advertising 4 years ago. So I still have clients and I work there with them. But well, right now I'm having I have the job of my dreams. So it's really good to be able to only design more games right now. But the skills I got from advertising is the ones I still use, because to make the prototypes and to to make the illustrations for players to play and test the games. Just need some skills that I learned from them. Yeah.
And every year you seem to come out with a new game, and every year it's a big game. So, and I hear it takes you 3 to 4 years to create a game?
Yeah, usually I'm already doing... So the game that you guys are playing this year, that is Speakeasy, for me it was made 3 years ago. So it's an old game for me already. I probably don't know the rules. Well, I know the rules, but I made two games after that already. So The Great Library, probably you will know that game today. And I finished designing another game called The Resort, and I'm starting a new one. So and probably the new one I'm starting now, you will see in, I don't know, 2028 maybe. Yeah. So it takes around 3 years to design a game. Yeah.
So actually, this is something that I was interested in, because when I was looking at BGG, it seems like The Resort was actually mentioned when I saw the list of games that you are developing, or at the various stages of development. It's the Resort, Santa
Justa, yeah. Santa Justa is an elevator, electric elevator on the streets of Lisbon. If you go to Lisbon, you probably see that elevator. It's very common there. Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's a bunch of other titles like Leonardo, Conspiracy.
Oh, those are just in my shelf. I'm not designing them. The ideas that I just put on the shelf and try to see if they become a game later on or not. But yes, I have a lot of ideas from previous years.
Well, that's a shame, because there's another title there that says On Mars Duel.
Yeah, the publisher asked me to do that game. Maybe one day, I don't know.
Are you going to work with Bruno Catala on this one?
Probably. I don't know, maybe.
Right, because there's like a...
If they invite me, probably, maybe.
I mean, I would buy it. It's like the band House of Bracanga. I'm probably messing it up.
Oh, it's called, well, Portuguese is probably like your language too. It's sometimes very difficult to pronounce any word. It is called Bragança, yeah.
Bragança.
But you want to know anything about those
no,
games? Those games
I'm
do not exist. It's just in my mind, yes.
Well, I'm just, it's a bunch of titles. And speaking to the fact what you just said, that it takes you 3 to 4 years, and the next game will be on the game you're working now. It will be in 2028. But I'm just wondering, because so many games and every one of them is big, complex. Isn't that a logistical nightmare for you, or is it really easy for you to find yourself in that?
Well, I think from the 15 years I work in games already, I have a system, and the system is quite easy. It's one game a year. So I have a big team who work with me. I don't work by myself, of course. I have a Discord channel, that's advertising. If you want to join, you can playtest the future games. I have some playtesters here that I already knew some. And most of the work to release the game is on that channel. So we playtesting the games a lot during a year, and then when I think that the game is completely done, goes to Ian, as you know, the artist of my games. It's always the same. And he takes the game for another year. I'm developing another game before that, and then the game is released to the publisher. The publisher usually do the Kickstarter, and 1 year after, you guys get the game. So for what I say, just like 3-4 years that passed already.
And is it because I hear that this is actually the way it happens, is that at this point you're not really pitching so much. You're just like...
I'm not pitch at all. No. The publisher asked me for any game I can deliver. So do you have a game? Yeah, I have a game. So give me the game, I take it. So right now it's just like that. It's very pleasant for me. I don't have to pitch anymore. I just have to make the game. Monopoly. As I said, I did one now. It's called Speakeasy. And seems people is enjoying it, so yeah.
No, it's actually, well, okay. I'm gonna admit I'm a bit new to a new fan of yours, but of the games that I've tried, Speakeasy is easily my favorite, because I love the theme so much. The movies and everything in that theme. That's amazing.
Well, I'm a fan of The Godfather, so you can see about that. And the restaurant, if you play the game, the restaurant in the game represents where The Godfather is. Of course, you don't know that, I know. So I designed it on that goal. But Speakeasy was designed in a way to bring new players to my games because it's a very intuitive game. You don't know how to build a weather machine, but you know how to sell wine, right? So it's quite easy to understand the game. And that's the big difference between this one and the previous games.
I mean, I don't know how to sell wine. I know how to drink it, but
Well, you can. It's easy to understand how to do it, right? So yeah.
and that's another thing because each of your games, big complex as they are, I think they're very strongly connected to the theme. For me, I know a lot of people say that your games are like the typical dry Euros where the theme is not as palpable, not as maybe even important. But to me, when I play your games, Speakeasy in particular, the theme is there, like the actions, how it's constructed, what happens after what. I think is that something that you think of, like, is the theme something that you think of first, or is it like this cool mechanic came to me, maybe I could use it in a game or something?
Sure, I always start by the theme because it's much easier to design the game starting with the theme because you have a goal, right? And when the theme is something that is connected with real life, people just understand what they have to do. And for me, it's also easy to design something that I know and I know how to do, and what is the goal of the game will be much easier to get. If you notice, most of my games are not fiction. They are connected with real life and with scenes we do usually. Weather machines are a little bit different, but not counting with that. But every weather machine is a science game. So anyway, I like to have games starting with a theme that is easier for the players to understand what they are doing. Because the games are complex, I know. That's what I like to do and what I know. And if players understand what they have to do, it's much easier to understand how to play a difficult game.
And each of your games is, I would say, the quality of it, the quality of components, the art, I would say is one of the best.
That's with the publisher, right?
But it's really like, and it's, you also regularly, recently it's often ENO2, but is it something, because like you said, you give the game to the publisher and then they handle it, but is it something that you really say, no, that's really important for me that it's designed and published and it looks like that?
Sure, I followed the game from the beginning to the end. I even do the rule books myself. All the images you see on the rule books are made by me. I know how to handle 3D. It's something that I got from advertising also. I follow the process. I talk with Ian when he's doing the art and the illustrations of the game. I talk with him every day, basically. And of course, I change opinions with the publisher. I know what they will do, and I follow even the production, because another thing that I bring from advertising is how to handle production. So I follow the process until the end.
Do you have someone in your life, for example, that you know will be the harshest critic to you?
My wife, yeah. Every day, and I play in the games just to calm it down. So you cannot say bad things about the game. You are there. Kanban has my wife there, so Sandra is my wife, and Resort also has it. So she's there. She's in Resort. She's a tour travel, so she's a tour guide. But she's the most critical of my games. Yes. We play together because I think most of my games play well with two players because I play a lot with her, and I make sure that the game is good for two players. And she doesn't like to lose, and I change the rules sometimes during playtesting, and she hates that. So she's a big critic of the game. So
I don't think anybody in the room is surprised by that. And I tried to trick my wife into helping me as well, but then she just quit the channel and stopped playing board games.
I discussed a lot of ideas with her. So we live in the same house, So, and I work at home. So we discussed a lot of ideas, and many of the ideas are from her. So yeah.
It's somebody that Sandra. I remember, Sandra is also in Bot Factory.
He's also in Bot Factory and he's also in Escape Plan. So,
Okay. I was you put your wife in a game called Escape Plan.
well, she's a detective. I don't know if you know the game, but she's a detective in the game Escape Plan. So
We'll always find you.
yeah, it's looking for the bad guys. Yeah.
So, because like Bot Factory is essentially like a much younger sister to Kanban, right? Is this because I don't know? I as I was researching you, even I did. Not a lot of people really talk about it, but I like it a lot. So I'm just wondering if there's something, maybe a direction you would go sometime. Just take one of your games and then make like a different but slightly simpler version of another game, like Speakeasy.
Well, I'm doing this since Mercado de Lisboa. It was my first small game. I have a friend that is also a designer, Portuguese friend, but he only likes family games. And so I need someone to stop me to really develop the game a little bit more. And we work together on these smaller games. And usually we take one of the mechanisms from one of my games and make a smaller game. It was his idea because he wants more people to play the bigger games. And for instance, with Bot Factory, if you know how to handle the small game, Bot Factory, you know how to play Kanban because the rules are essentially the same. The worker system is the same. It doesn't change. And everybody can play Bot Factory. Everybody can play Kanban. I think my games are not that complex. Once you play them and you understand how to play, the games are okay. It's not that difficult to play. Well, I hope it's difficult to learn how to play well, but it's not difficult to learn how to play the game. So.
I think I don't know if it was the Great Library, but I checked on BGG yesterday and it was 4.7 out.
You shouldn't look at BGG.
Yeah, that's actually a thing, because I know that, for example, from the Dice Tower, Tom Vassell hates the BGG system for weight. Do you agree? Agree?
Well, Tom Vassell hates all of my games. I probably not Speakeasy. The review was good for Speakeasy, but probably the games are too complex for them. I don't know. It's just, they don't like that type of games. It's just, or they don't like the systems I come with.
Oh, this is nice. You just went after every single BGG user, so.
You shouldn't look at BGG ratings because think about people one player or a group of players that just plays, I don't know, Catan or Wingspan or simple games, family games, and then they decided to play on Mars. So after they play on Mars, probably they will rate on Mars like a 5 or 4.5, and it's not. So that's why the ratings are so high. If you play my games consistently or if you play heavy games, you see that the games are not that difficult to play because they are the same of many others like Barrage or so many other games.
Yeah, my game is just as simple as Barrage.
Well, for me it's not that difficult. Well, that's the type of games I like to play anyway. Barrage, those type of games. Nucleum is a very good game.
The Luthier, the new one,
Sorry?
the Luthier, the new one from what's the publisher? Well, anyway, Luthier, you guys know. So I'm just saying that on Mars, there's a friend of mine here. There he is. We had a crazy idea, which we thought was good at the time, to teach me on Mars at 10 p.m.
See, you want to play Catan, right? Before that. So you went to BGG and rated like 5.4, 4.5. Yeah, sure. That's why the games are difficult. You have to have some progression in the board game.
Okay, so I also want to say to play. I'm not nervous at all. How's it going with saxophone?
Sorry?
Saxophone, how's it going?
Well, it's going well. I'm terrible at it, but I like it. I enjoy it.
Is that your only hobby? Because it's always like if you're.
Yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah, and sometimes I like jazz, so I'm playing or try to play saxophone. My wife doesn't like it that much. It's a little bit noisy, so especially when I play, it's really noisy. So.
She also criticizes your saxophone.
Yeah, she criticizes everything, but she loves me.
And of course, every every designer should be asked that question: what do you play other than obviously playtesting your own games? What games do you play?
Yeah, I try to play everything. With my family, I usually play family games. So my daughter's favorite is Wingspan. She's a bird biologist, so it's natural that she likes Wingspan. But I usually in my groups I play heavy games. I've been playing Nucleum a lot lately, and I love Barrage. That's why I remember that one. Carnegie is also one of my favorites. Braz is probably the best game ever designed. So the first one, not the new one. But I'm old school anyway. I prefer to play the first one than the new one with the rules. But yeah, I play everything. I play party games when I have many people at home. So I like to play everything, and I like to see what is next. Because as a designer, I should be able to see what I should do and what is good in the market, what is coming now, and not to repeat what is making, and have new ideas, because we are not creating new ideas every day. We are just getting ideas from other games and try to make them different.
And so we know that sometimes, designers like to work together to help each other out, critique, give some pointers. Do you do that ever with other designers?
Well, I have a few designers in my Discord. We have some discussions. Yeah, I'm working with David Turci also, and we discuss some ideas. It's a great designer. He's very speedy. It's just like he has like 1,000 ideas in 10 minutes. So, but yeah, we change ideas and we see what we have. But mostly is playing other games and seeing what the others doing and what is good and what is not.
Is David helping you mostly with the solo mode?
David wants to make all the solo modes of my games. He helped me a little bit on Speakeasy. But he's a complicated designer, right? It complicates a little bit the solo sometimes. I have to stop him a little bit. So if you think my games are complicated, have you played David's games? They are much more complicated than mine. So. Well, not Nucleum. Nucleum is not that difficult because you work with another designer. So.
So yeah, and I mean David Turci. I mean I love playing. The reason I asked is because I like playing solo. I think I saw an interview with you where you said that the solo mode for your games you're playtesting on your own. I remember seeing something like that, but it was an old interview, I think.
I'm sorry.
That when you have a solo mode in your game,
yes.
You playtest it on your own. You don't give it to anybody else. I think that.
Did I say that? That's not true.
It was an interview from a few years ago. You didn't have the beard yet, so.
Maybe, I don't know. I start with, I work in Tabletopia a lot, and my Discord is about, 2,000 people around, and usually I open the game to play solo, and anyone that wants a table, I can find a table for them to try and get some feedback. And basically that's how I make all games to any number of counters. So I open tables almost every day, and people just come in and playtest the game and give me some feedback.
They protect that you can playtest with you, right?
Yeah, so if you want to join Discord again, just go there. And
what's the name of the channel?
Oh, my name.
Okay. I think you'll remember.
It's easy to get. So. Yeah, but yeah, I have some playtesters here. Janusz is there. It's one of those. Basically, it's not me who make the game. I just watch people playing, and they give me feedback, and I just take decisions after that. And if the decisions are bad, the game will be bad. If the decisions are good, the game will be good. It's just simple as that. So, yeah, that's it. Designing game is not that complicated. I don't know anything about techniques or about... reviewers know more than me how to design games than me. I just playtest games and take decisions after that. That's it.
I mean, I would think we would find a few people here who would say that reviewers don't know that much. So,
well, maybe sometimes.
Is there something? I don't know. If do you sometimes look back one of your designs? Because like people, when people talk about Kanban or Lisboa or Vino, and it's like I never heard. Maybe I'm in the wrong circles, but I never heard anybody say anything bad about them. Like really bad.
So you never seen any reviews of my games? A lot of bad reviews.
I don't trust reviewers. It's
But
there's no point
yeah,
watching them.
most of them are okay. Yeah. Most of them are good.
Do you sometimes go back and think, I should have done that different?
Sure, and many times I use mechanisms that I used in previous games. I try to make them different, but if they work, the mechanisms for me are not that important. The context and the goals and the theme of the game is more important. The mechanisms can just come after that. If I want to achieve something, I'm looking the best way to get there. The mechanism I use, it's just depend on, again, playtesting. I try one, we playtest, doesn't work, I try another one, but the goal is always the same. I want to get there. What is the best way to get there? So that's how I design my games.
And for example, Lisboa is the game that's about the historical reconstruction of a church, from what I understand. And is it, do you, because is, for example, like allowing people to, for example, learn more about where you're from, is that also a part of your philosophy?
Yeah, I lived in Lisboa since I was born, so I like to bring people from the world, some parts of my own life, right? And Lisboa is a beautiful city. It has a nice story because the earthquake make a good story for a game. And that's why I make the game. The game took me a long time to finish it. It's probably 8 years. I start the game, then I stop the game, then I start again, and a few times. But it ended up to be a nice one. So it tells a lot of story. And if you want to know something about the city of Lisboa, the game can teach you something. So, and before you go there, just read a book or watch some movies and about it. And that's cool.
And also, when you look at your designs, it's like it seems well. Okay.
You're finishing. Okay.
Leave. I see that it's obviously you are interested, I think, in how things work. The manufacturing process of cars or a weather machine, whether it's like more grounded, like cars, or something more fantastical. And I'm just wondering if it's grounded in something, like something happened in your life that it just got you curious about how things work, or is it just something, an idea happens and this is what it is?
Well, my father is an engineer, so probably bring that to me, but I'm very curious, and one of the parts that I like the most when I start designing games is the research around it. And I like to research around the team to see if the game works, if I can make a game about it or not. And I end up by learning a lot of stuff, just researching the team of the game before I start doing the playtesting and the mechanisms. Usually I design games about subjects that I really enjoy. Speakeasy and Escape Plan was about movies, and mafia movies, I like them, so I made those. The galleries, I love art, so vinhos, I like wine, and Portuguese wine is very good, you should try it. I don't know if you have good wine here on Poland, do you? Sorry about that. Oh, the Portuguese wine is good, yeah. Well, the beer is good. I tried some yesterday. But yes, I usually design games about subjects that I really like and enjoy because I take a lot of time doing the game. I have to like what I'm doing, right? And I really like what I'm doing.
So you hate the cold, so you want to control the weather, but it's always warm everywhere.
No, I really love science, and the game is about science. It's about experimenting, and it's not going well, and the experience makes stuff worse sometimes, and the game is about that. It's a theme that I have in my head, but many people just don't get it, but it's my fault. Next time I make something more close to Monopoly. So.
The Monopoly going to come back every now and then. I'm just and your research process. What's that like?
Sorry?
Your research process, because obviously it takes a lot of research to jump from.
Yeah, I just spend time with it. Internet, it exists. It's easy to research about, and now with AI, it's much easier to research about everything. The problem is that you have very different ideas and ways to make different games. And right now I'm between games. I start a new one, but I'm not sure if it is the right one because there are so many games that you can do. And the most difficult part is which one will be the next one. I already jumped for 5 or 6 different teams, and I'm not deciding which one will be the next one yet.
I actually wanted to ask, what's the next one? After Great Library and the Resort, of course, what's the next theme?
I don't know yet. Well, I know, but I'm not sure. You know about it. I usually start to placing some prototype pictures on my social. So, and you usually, if you are interested, you know about them in a couple of months or couple of weeks.
And do you have sometimes, like if you have something that says real, like, I keep going back to Kanban for some reason, cards, do you sometimes like reach out to an expert, like a friend who is in the car manufacturing?
Sure, usually I do that. For instance, in Vineyards, my uncle was an agricultural engineer, and he had a winery. And so he helped me to make the game. Weather Machine, my kid is a biologist. She helped me to make the game. I usually look for experts in the field to help me to research the game, yes.
Well, I think that answers a lot why the games, like, I know it sounds like I'm sucking up to you because, I just discovered, I've joined your fan club quite recently, but it's true, your games.
I have to go, but yeah.
I'm lonely. It's like the games are like really tight. Like it's really the people. I wouldn't know how to do it. Like I don't play games that are that heavy like your games or Barrage or Brass and very often. But there are people who I know who like really try to take a game apart. And your games are like not necessarily immune to that, but they're really great. And I think that explains it. That if you have somebody to consult it with, that helps, right?
Well, I have 2,000 people on Discord that help me to make the game. So that's people. That's people giving opinions and review and feedback to make the games better. Sometimes the difficult part is to decide if the feedback is good or bad, because you already get a lot of bad feedback. And people usually, after play a game, wants the game to be made but to him and not for the public, right? And I want to make my games for me, not for the other players. So, and that is the most difficult part. We have a lot of help, and many people just give some feedback about it, but I'm as designer have to take the final decision how we should play the game, and that's what makes the game good or bad.
And yeah, with playtesting, I actually have a question because I recently saw a video on YouTube. Well, not recently, but I saw it's a movie director who talked about test screenings for movies.
Okay.
And they do a test screening. They invite an audience, and then they have the audience and they ask them questions. And he said that there actually it's a funny thing with testing that. Somebody will say, nobody will say anything, but somebody will say, because they want to sound smart, they will say, well, I didn't really get the scene with the rat. And then the other ones, because they don't want to seem stupid because they didn't get that, they will start saying, yeah, that scene with the rat is something weird. And then that causes changes to the movie that may not be that good for it. Is that something you found with playtesters, that sometimes you have to kind of like filter which are like genuine good critical advice and which are just some like people trying very hard to help?
Yeah, people always try very hard to help, and they want the name on the rulebook because I made this part of the game, this mechanism is mine. But as I said, the designer is the last one to take the decision if the the feedback is good or bad, and you receive good feedback that sometimes you just don't care about it, and that's a mistake, and sometimes you receive bad feedback that will make the game worse, and you just go ahead with it. Most of the time, that's my role on the designer. Probably the most difficult role of any designer of the games is to decide the right way. Yeah.
And you had a game designed with your son, right? It's called Dragon Keepers.
Yeah, many years ago. He's not designing anymore.
No? That's
But it's moving to Czechia, so just next to you, and it's probably work in the game design somewhere. But not now, right now. He's not working with me anymore. But yeah, I signed a copy of Dragon Keepers today. I was so happy to see. Probably there are 300 copies of that game in the market. More than that, so. Yeah.
No, I actually, as I said, when I was researching you, it's just, it's a name that popped up that I haven't heard before. But then I looked into it. It's got, the Mikos doing the art and everything. It's like, it seems like an interesting game.
Well, the smaller games that I'm doing, like House of Fado and Bot Factory, is usually illustrated by another artist. Ian doesn't have time for that, so I have to book Ian. When I made my first game, The Galleries, Ian made the art and the iconography of the game in 15 days. Now it's taking a year, and I have to book him with a year ahead. So I'm already booked him to the resort last year. And he started to making the game now. So it's very difficult for me to get the smaller games. But you always do the big ones, yeah, that I'm seeing now. The Monopoly there, yeah. And yeah, that's it. Ian is difficult to get to make different art, but I like other artists. Pedro Soto is making the art for the Santa Justa now. He make the art for the Bot Factory. We hired a Portuguese artist to make House of Fado. I don't know if you play that game. It's a smaller game with the mechanisms of the galleries. If you like the galleries, probably you will like House of Fado. I don't know if Portal Games have it. Do you? Greg? You don't have the game? Yeah. So, sometimes for the smaller games I have different artists, but you guys, I think you like Ian's art, so for the big ones, it's always Ian's auto.
Yeah, and the relationship with Ian, is it something that you developed on your own, or is it something from Eagle Griffin that came?
No, it was myself and him. It was a coincidence. The first game I published with Eagle Griffin game was in 2015. It was The Gallerist. And I never worked with Eagle Griffin, and they don't knew me. And I was looking for a publisher. I was pitching the games at that time, and I was looking for a publisher. Then they said we don't have a team to develop a heavy game, but if you do everything yourself, we can publish it. And I said, okay, I'm going to do everything myself. Do I have any money to hire artists? No. And by a coincidence, Ian was not working on the market yet, on the industry, and he sent me an email asking me if I want him to illustrate one of my games. And I said, yes, I want. I don't have any money, and I have a game here that needs an illustration. And also, I don't know if you know a guy called Paul Grogan. He made some videos and reviews. Paul Grogan also wanted to leave his work and start working on industry, and at the time he was trying to make rule books. So, when all the stars align, and Paul Grogan just sent me an email saying, can I make your rule book? I say, yes. And we made the game in the game was ready for my side, but then Ian in 15 days made the illustration of the galleries, and Paul Grogan make the rule book. We just deliver all the stuff to Eagle Griffin game, and they published the game. And they were happy with it. It's still in printing, so it was a very coincidence. And since there, I'm working with both. It's already 15 years. Yeah.
I mean, Paul Grogan is, he's really famous, I think, here, and I think he's a great guy. I remember messaging him not that long ago, and we've met barely once. it wasn't a long conversation, but I've met him, and then I messaged him because I saw some cool stuff he does in his videos, and I asked him like, hey, how do you do that? Because I can't find it anywhere else. And he just, responded to me and sent me links and all of that. So he seems like a really good guy.
It is. He has a nice con. If you go to London, you should go to the con. It's also in the winter, so and it's cold there, November. So and it's GreedCon. It is called GreedCon. So every year we just play board games. It's a good one.
So I have to ask, because this might sound like a stupid question, but I played this year. I played a game called Galactic Cruise, which was also illustrated by Ian O'Toole. And even before I played it, the reviews, well, not every review, but certain reviews said the game is very Lacerda-like. And then when I played it, and then I played some of your games more. Like, this is really Lacerda-like, and I was just wondering, did you have anything to do with the game? No disrespect to the actual designers, but
Sure.
It's a great game. But did you have anything to do with that?
No, but the designer came to me on my Discord and said, "Do you want to play my game because it's Lacerda-like?" And I said, "Sure, let's play the game." It's good for me to leave something to the industry, right? So now people say that's a Lacerda game. Well, I know that's what it means. What does it mean? And yeah, I played test the game, and the game is good, so it's okay. It's a heavy game. It's just not Lacerda-like. It's a heavy game. So
Again, it's easy, like brass, right? So
yeah, I played it a few times. It's a nice one. It's easy to get in, and the trend is very good, right? Because space travel is on the trend now. Yeah, people would like to do it, probably.
We're coming up on that time where we'll be, allowing you to have some questions. So please think about what questions you might have. So just raise your hand, and we'll get somebody to you, or you will just shout it out, and we'll repeat the question here. So I was just thinking, there was a question I had from some friend who I talked to yesterday. Why is there no negative interaction in Speakeasy?
Because I don't like it. So. No, and that's well, I can have a news for you, but anyway, I don't like negative interaction between the players. I'm a Eurogamer, so the story I showed Manhattan in purpose because the story of the game is precisely that. So the head of the mafia there, Luciano, find out that they could make more money if they didn't kill each other. So they give the 5 different families, Irish family, Italian family, they give the 5 different families different places to run, and they live happy forever until the end. So, but everybody that comes from outside should have to fight for the position, and that's the game, basically. So, but anyway, the news is probably there will be a map where you can kill each other if you like it. So
it's going to be like a big expansion, or just?
No, it's probably Chicago, right? You have Al Capone there, so Al Capone kill everybody. So you can do that on the game, maybe. I'm trying to design something like that because many people ask me. I'm not a fan of direct interaction, but it makes sense in the game. So. And in another place, not in Manhattan.
And actually, my friend also has a YouTube channel. He's not as popular as me, but he's quite good and promising. He's called Gambit TV. And you guys know I had to. He was wondering, why is On Mars the only game that has like a big expansion? And are there maybe any big expansions coming from other games like Speakeasy?
Well, it is not a big expansion. The Speakeasy is a map with some rules. But anyway, On Mars is a different story. On Mars was asked for the publisher to make it. I don't like to make expansions because I think the game should be ready when it's ready. It shouldn't have expansions for that. But On Mars, I don't consider On Mars an expansion. I consider it an extension. It's very different. Why? Because you are not playing the same game. You are playing a different way. So you are playing cooperative, you are playing with 4 against 1, you are playing in different ways, you have a solo game. So it's not an expansion for the game. It's just different ways to play the game. That's how I see it. So, and I don't design expansions. I don't like to design expansions. I prefer to make a new game.
Okay, and so
It's so long for making a game. I don't want to keep working on the same. I just like to change. So.
have you ever paused, with designing a game and then, because, for example, you hit the writer's block or something, or designer's block?
I am right there right now. I am there right now. It's it's the problem is not that I don't have an idea. It's which one I should go for. So I'm between jobs right now. I would say. Yeah.
But you're actually, most of your stuff has been released by Eagle Griffin, but you're technically still like a freelance designer.
I am, yeah.
So you're not hired by Eagle.
No. Well, I'm hired by Eagle. I receive a fee just like any writer.
Okay.
I can compare the profession of professional designers like writers. So you receive fees for the games you sell. So I'm not connected with, I can design with anyone, but I have my team with Eagle Griffin, I have Ian, I have Randall, that is the CEO, I have the team it's made already. We are 8 people that work together and make the game. So people think that Eagle Griffin is a huge company. Portal is much bigger than Eagle Griffin. It's really, really much bigger than Eagle. In Eagle Griffin, we are 8 people working on the game. So.
Yeah, I read that it's an employee-owned company, so it doesn't have like a CEO or something that is...
Well, we have a CEO because it's good to have someone running the company, right? So, but there is no hierarchy in the company, no. We have someone that is charging on sales, we have someone that is running the company, someone that is taking care of the production, so someone designing, and someone making the artist, so. That's how the company runs. We have also someone that calls Shelly right now that is taking care about every question that people has, and there are a lot on BGG every day. So like, I don't know, 20 a day, and she's answering everybody, so. Yeah.
Okay, does anybody have a question? I think you were first.
Most of your games are worker placement mechanics. So I have a question, are you going to make a game with something else, like a card driven, like in Rust, something like that? Or are you going to make games only with worker placement?
So because I have to repeat for the stream and for the viewers at home, the question is that most of the games are built around the worker placement mechanics, and the viewer just wants to know if you plan on doing something else like a card-driven game.
I was thinking if I had done some games without worker placement. Did I? No, I don't have any. Well, the company is not a worker placement. Well, it can be. It's just an action selection game. Vineyard is action selection game. Probably the Great Library. The Great Library is not worker placement. It has workers, but you are not depending on the workers to make the actions. I don't know. As I said, the mechanisms for me are not that important. I probably go ahead for the ones when I want to achieve the goal of the core that I want. So. Maybe I never noticed it. All my games are worker placement games. Probably they are. So I don't know.
I mean, like the gentleman said afterwards, it's not that there are 100% worker games. There's obviously other stuff in there.
Yeah, I usually try to have some twists on the worker placement. For instance, the galleries I'm thinking about. You move a worker, but you are selecting action. Basically, you are selection. It's not worker placement. You usually have when you use a space. Nobody can go there. And that doesn't happen in most of my games. So you can usually go to that space again. So I don't classify it as a worker placement. I don't know. I don't understand much about mechanisms. So I just do what I need to do. That's how I work. Maybe the next game. Oh, I was thinking about the resort. Yeah, the resort has work. Well, it doesn't have work. It has guests that you are trying to bring to your resort. You move the guests to take the actions, but the guests are not yours. Is that a worker placement? Maybe. So you can move any worker there. So maybe it is. I don't know. It depends on the next game. It depends on the next game. I will try to avoid that next.
Thank you. You should be on the rule book then. There was a question here, I think. Yeah. How long did it take to design venues?
Oh, I don't know. I remember the first time I tried to place venues on the table with my friends. Venues had 24 or 25 different regions, now at 9. And took me like 30 minutes to make the setup, and the game didn't work. So we didn't pass the setup. So and we start. It was probably 2005. Then nobody knew me. I had some problems in find a publisher for the game. I finally find one. What's your game? It doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, like 5-6 years to design venues, probably, and find a publisher. That's the worst part, the most difficult one. Not now, fine.
Right. Actually, that's something I also wanted to ask because don't be modest, please, about anything. When you were starting out, obviously, you know it was quite some time ago, and there's the popularity you have right now, specifically among heavy gamers. I mean, players of heavy games. Sorry, it's enormous, right? And do you think about that when you're designing games now? That, oh my God, I'm Vitalem Lacerda. There's a name I have to uphold.
Yeah, not really, because the expectations are higher now than was at the time, right? And now I have to make sure that the game is really good. I didn't care in the beginning, but I don't. I like when people say it's a Lacerda game. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool to hear. So it's something that I'm going to leave on the industry. Executive actions is another thing that people know about my games. So.
But you don't go like, yeah.
Oh, I also have worker placement and executive actions in all games. Yeah.
Any questions, sir?
You can give some very short information or tips for the very beginner game designer. What will be?
Advice for the beginner designers.
Well, I start with just making what I really like to play, right? And I think new designers should do the same. Just design what you want to play. I still play my games because I like to play them. Just don't design to the audience or to other people. It's designed for you. If you have passion about what you're doing, you probably have a good game. Many people will not like it, but others will. So, and don't care much about reviewers. So I was very worried about the review. My first rating in BGG on Venus, the first rating I had, it was a 2. I was at Hessen, the game was not out, and the publisher didn't made the game to Hessen. He has one copy, and I played with a German guy, and the guy at the end of the day, I went to the rating, my first rating, and was the 2 there. So I was a little bit disappointed, but right now I don't care. And I said I have a friend that is designer also. He makes small games. The one I designed the small games, and he was very worried. He always is very worried about having 1 ratings on BGG. And I always say to him, if you don't have 1 rating, you are not a good designer. So you have to have bad news because people is after you. Some will hate you. So it's good for that. It's good to have haters because the games are doing something for them. Okay? And you get used to it. But when you start to make a game, just do what you think it's better for you. And make sure that you really want to play the game after it's finished. Because if you don't, many people will not. That's it.
So, but if you don't want a bad rating in the beginning, maybe just don't give the game to a German, I think. You know.
Yeah, just don't do it. Yeah. And play the game a lot. So another good advice this is common sense. Just play test the game a lot with different people. Because if you play with the same group, the people will get used to the game and the game will be good for them, but may not be good. You have to have a huge audience to play test your game. because everybody thinks in different ways. And many people will find ways to break your game. It's one of the things that I'm happy about, is when people just say, I just broke your game. They found a broken rule, and I'm really happy about that, because I can fix it. I cannot fix it after it's been printed, so get a huge audience and playtest with different people. Yeah.
Any other questions? Here, well, okay, then.
You mentioned today that you have developed your own style as a designer. It's recognizable. People know that, oh, this is a Lacerda game. Do you, as a player, have other designers that you admire for their style? You play their game and you say, oh, it feels like a game by this person.
Sure, Martin Wallace is one of them. So I started designing games because of Martin Wallace, because of Brass and other types of games. Because Brass has a lot of history behind its support on history. Brass has a lot of team. And I really enjoyed that game and started designing games for him. Another one that is one of my favorite designers is Stefan Feld. And he is a master using dice, and I don't know how to do it. So that's why I admire the guy. So he's really good. Most of the Italian schools are very good designers, so I like most of their games. So yeah. There are some designers that I still look at what they do and try to use sometimes their mechanisms and change them. Mark Gertz is another one that is a great designer also. Once, I think it was Inventions, I'm not sure. I had a mechanism that worked very well in Inventions, and it's one mechanism taken from Concordia. Concordia is a great game. And I write I send a message to Mark Gertz saying, I'm using your mechanism if you don't mind, because it's very good in my game, so it's the same mechanism. The mechanism is, if you are interested, is when you, in Concordia, when you spend money, you flip all the tiles to get them available again, and I have the same mechanism exactly in Inventions. So once you flip the tiles that are connected with the regions, they become available again. So yeah, that's one example of healing mechanisms. So yeah, I stole a lot of mechanisms from good designers, so it doesn't matter. It works in the game and it's in a different way. And many people just don't see them. Yeah.
So the question was about whether you, because you have a unique style, whether you look out for other designers who have unique styles. Let me follow up on that. Are there designers that you're actually like friends with, that you're in constant touch and you talk all the time?
Well, that designer works with me. That's Portuguese and lives next to me. It's my friend. I'm a friend of Mark Gertz, so we talk a little bit once in a while. I was very friend from Martin Wallace because he went to Lady Con many times and he helped me with CO2 and other games. But I'm not really. I know them. Yeah. I talk a lot with David Turksey. So, but we are not hanging out together, and so.
But the reason I'm asking,
we live away, you know. So.
I know that's. But I'm just wondering if has it ever happened that like a designer came to you, or with a game and asked for advice, and you saw it and you were like, "That's not great," and then you had to tell them. Has it ever happened to you?
Yes.
No names, just wondering how it's.
I usually say what I say to. Right now, it's you just design what you feel that is good for you, because that's what it matters, right? You have to love what you're doing, because if you end up the game after, I don't know, 3 years working in one game and you don't like it, it's terrible, right? It's the end of the work, it doesn't worth it. So yeah, you have to. I still play all my games because I like them. I like Escape Plan a lot. You guys don't, but I still play them.
You guys don't like it?
Yeah, many people don't like Escape Plan. I don't know why. It's a good one. It's fun. Yeah.
I think we had a question. Yes, here.
Among all the games you've designed, do you have a personal favorite?
Yes, Lisboa. because I live there. Lisbon is full of history, you know. All the cards took me a long time to make all the cards have dates and have something that happened in that date. The game has like 50 cards, and that took me a long time and a lot of research. And it has a lot of history from that time. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one, all the ones, Lisbon. But as I said, I like to play the other games. I like all my games. I enjoy Kanban with my wife a lot. She always wins. But I don't know, it's a card game, so but it's yeah. My friends like to play my games, and we always at least once a week at my home we make a session. We play a game, and sometimes they ask me to play my games. Play. Cool.
So this is amazing because the question was about your favorite game, and I'm just thinking, you know, this is really why we're living the dream, right? Because I've met designers who have published games that they actively don't like, right? For example, at the point where when we talked. So if you like everything you did, and you're really proud and happy about it, I think that's great. So congratulations, essentially.
I do, because my philosophy in my life is I'm spending 3 years designing this game. So at the end of the 3 years, then I look at, because of all this work and it doesn't worth it. No, so I have to like it. Otherwise, I just don't release it. I can make another one. So okay.
And I don't know if there is even one, but is there if there is like a typical day for you, like a work day, if you have one again, what does it look like? I'm curious.
Well, usually sit down at the computer, working on playtesting and working on the mechanisms. My working day is just very boring. It's just I'm on Discord playtesting the game. In the next day, I receive feedback and I just change the game for playtesting again. That's it. Of course, I don't have weekends because I can take weekends any day of the week. So that's the best thing. I can go away and just don't work for a week. So I can take my vacations wherever I want. But usually when I work, it's just playtesting the game, watching people playing, and finding decisions to make the game better. And the worst part, I can say, the worst part is writing and making the rulebook. It's so boring. It's really boring. And my rulebooks is like 24 pages each, and I make them myself. And Ian always wants the rulebook done before he starts making the art. Of course, scratch the rulebook, a draft, and I have to do it really fast, and I don't like it because I'm changing the rulebook every day, you know. I play test, I'm changing the rulebook, so write again, so I'm changing the rule, write again. But that is the most boring part, is to write the rulebook, but it must be good, otherwise you guys cannot play the game. There are many games that are really good, and the rulebook is bad, so nobody likes the game.
And do you playtest the rulebooks themselves?
Yes, we do different sessions. So I playtest the game in the beginning only of prototypes. Once I think it's ready, Ian starts to make the art. And we receive the art just like in the white sheet, just with iconography to test the icons, because that's how he sent it to me. We playtest a few times, and then he starts to make the artist part. And I finish the rulebook, and then we do a lot of blind playtesting. So I send rulebooks to a lot of players. The players just never play the game, just read the rulebooks and try to play. And there are many mistakes during those games, usually. But after that, it's okay. We are correcting the rulebook, playtesting again. And then I send the rulebooks to BGG, and we have a lot of feedback.
And did you notice, because obviously you travel, do you travel quite a bit? Or
yeah, I travel quite
exactly.
a bit. Conventions and stuff like that, yeah.
And you have all those people on Discord, so I'm just wondering, did you notice like a difference in what people pay attention to, and what do they give feedback on between various countries or cultures that you see in different?
Yes, many people play in different ways. For instance, the Americans like to beat each other. German people like to play by themselves. So, and when we have a table with different countries playing on the same table, you see very different mechanisms, the very different strategies being applied, and that is very cool to see. And usually it's when the game starts to break. So they can't be someone finds a way to win every time doing just the same thing all the time. I'm very happy when that happens because, well, I can fix it.
No, I think, yeah, the diversity of opinions.
Yeah,
and
but
feedback is
that's
amazing.
why it's important. That's why I was saying that you should playtest widely with very different minds because people think in different ways. And when the game is published, many different people is playing the game, right? So they probably will find something that doesn't work.
Any more questions from the audience? There we go. Santa?
How much math is involved? Because a lot of designers will spend a lot of time in Excel, in the tables, counting everything, and from marketing, for me right now, it's more about playtesting. So
Yeah, but I use Excel a lot. For instance, Speakeasy, it was one time where I had an Excel sheet and records every dollar people spent. So you spend $10, I put there. So I had that spreadsheet to balance the game, of course, to make sure that the game is very balanced between all the players and all the ways. I use that system, yes, I use it.
Yeah, but because balancing, I would say, is. Do you think it's one of the most challenging parts of designing a?
Not really.
No?
It's quite easy with playtesting. You playtest, too much money, now playtest again, too less money, then playtest again, it's okay. So it's a question of playtesting. It's not just, you adjust, right? So you adjust things. The most difficult part is to find, it's to make people to have fun at the end of the game. So because my games are synchy games, they are not quite party games where everybody laughs all the time. And but you, at the end of the game, you have to have fun after play the game, and that is the most difficult part: is to make sure that people is happy after they finish the game. So we change mechanisms, and finding new mechanisms is not easy to do. Yeah. Balancing is quite easy.
Any other? Yeah, let's go here.
If you were to design a party game, what would it look like? Because I see it like, okay, I need one simple rule, check. Okay, let's add 50 more.
That's my problem. I know that.
Yeah, so let me just say, if you were to design a party,
I
game, what would it look
probably cannot design a party game. I don't know how. I would probably, maybe with some friends, because they have to stop me. Once my son, I was designing the easiest game that I have, that is the Dragon Keepers. And I was designing with my son, and he said, if you go that way, you will not place my name in the rulebook. So, and I said, okay, let's stop that. So probably I couldn't design, there are so many good people designing party games, not me. I don't know how to do it. The same way I don't know how to use dice. So it's the same. I used dice on my last game, you'll be surprised. And you roll the dice. but it's a pool, so don't be afraid. It's just a pool of them. Well, I'm afraid about what will happen, but yeah, you roll the dice and it's a pool for all the players. So it's the best I can do with dice.
I would love to see a party designed by you.
No, probably not. I like party games, but I couldn't make them.
There was a question somewhere. Yeah, but I think also somebody here wanted to. No? Okay, sorry. To you then.
A common mechanism I find in your games is
Worker placement.
Worker placement.
okay, yes, but we all know like negative interaction, but there are interactions that actually will benefit me, but they will benefit my opponent more. Is it something that you deliberately put in, or it just comes out?
Sure, I call that positive interaction, right? So when you interact in the game in the way that you give something to another player, that's the way I like to design games. I think everybody gets happy, right? Oh, you give me something, good for me. So I'm going to do that action again because I'm getting something else. So, and that's the way I like to play. When I play games, I also like to have that type of interaction on the games. I like to get stuff. So.
I actually wanted to ask you, that reminded me, I don't know why, but it reminded me about, Kickstarter. And I just wanted to get, like, genuine, general opinion, because I know your games are kickstarted, and then there's a lot of controversies around Kickstarter. The delays, the issues, the changes, and everything. And I don't, at least in my bubble, I haven't really heard that stuff happen too much to your games. And I was just wondering, do you have an opinion on that, or are you just like, okay, the Kickstarter is the publisher, I'm staying out of it?
The Kickstarter is the publisher, but the publisher do something that many publishers don't. The game is ready when the Kickstarter. Okay, so because the game is ready, it has 1 year to make the production of the game. Of course, we have changes on the rule books. The partners like Portal that wants the rule book in their own language is working on the game. But for my side, the game is ready. So I'm not working the game anymore. Maybe I'm finishing the soul or something like that. But that's why probably it does not. The publisher don't have many delays because the game is done. Just send it to the printer. That's it.
Well. Any other questions do we have? Let's go.
Change the most from the initial idea.
Change the most from the initial idea.
All of them. My publisher usually say, if I went to you and every month, we can have a game every month. Because when you start, the guy that is next to you can say that. Because he playtested most of my games, and none of the games are the same as he playtested in the beginning. So the games change a lot. And that's do playtesting. Just every day I playtest and someone says, oh, this is not working, let's change it. And so I change it and change it until it's ready. So I don't have one that change a lot. Probably all.
Vinos was a party game at first.
Yeah, sometimes. I usually start the games with a very simple core, okay? And that core stays all the way. Because I know the goal, I know the team, and that's the objective that I want to reach. But after that, as I said, the mechanisms are changing until people is happy with the game. So, until basically me are happy with the game. But yes, the core is usually simple. And if you notice in all my games, you have one simple rule that supports all the game. And after that, you have the development of the game. So. But yeah, they change a lot. The first playtesting is completely different from the final product.
Okay, I don't see any other questions, so I'm just... Yeah, sure.
It had to be changed so much that it wasn't what you first thought about. That the feedback you collected was not exactly what you expected.
Well, I have that every day, The feedback I collected sometimes is not what I expect. And sometimes many playtesters like to not talk after the sessions, but they just write down, they think a little bit about the game and write down what they think. And I have one that is terrible. I'm always afraid of reading what he's writing. Because the game is always so bad by his playtesting, that it's difficult for me to know what is really bad and what is good from there. But all the playtests, all the feedback is good feedback, so good or bad, it's always good for me, because even if it is not that good, it makes me think about how the game should go and if the game is in the right way or not. Yeah. It's a process, It's just go with the flow. I have an idea. It's here. Let's play testing this. Oh, this is terrible. Okay, let's change it and keep going. If the game doesn't work. Let's start another one. Until now, I have the luck of all the games I've placed and start playtesting. End up with final product. I choose it wisely usually. I spend a few times before I start a new game. I like the white sheet, I have a white sheet and I'm looking at it during some days until I find a dot in the middle. But that's it. It's a process. It takes time and it's developing by itself. So no, you don't. Anybody can do it. So anybody can do good game. It's not difficult. Well, it's difficult because it requires a lot of work. I wake up at evenings and take notes, and I go to bed thinking about some mechanisms that are not working. But it requires time, and you want to do it for sure. It's not just something that you just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to make a game. And after a couple of months, the game is ready. It's not. But it doesn't require a lot of expertise, It just, you do it. Anybody can do it if you want to. And everybody here is a gamer, so probably you have many ideas on your head for the perfect game. And that's why we all know, we all like to have the next game. We are always looking for the great Graal, right? The Graal of the games, the perfect game. We'll never get it. That's why it's good for the industry, right? We keep doing new games. So, yeah. But everybody here is probably have an idea of the perfect game. So just go and do it if you want to. So.
I think that's actually the perfect way to end the meeting.
Yeah.
It was very inspirational and helpful. So thank you for coming here, not just here to PortalConu, but to Poland and talking to us. It's been an insane pleasure and an honor to talk to you and to lead this meeting. And thank you all for coming here and showing up. And
Thank you. Thank you for your patience and be here. Good to be here.
Can we take a selfie with the audience? Would that be okay with you guys? Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, thank you all. What is well designed?